Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another high-level game of StarCraft 2. Today we have Mr. Showtime taking on a Beyond here in a new map, new patch spectacle. Well, let's hope it's going to be a spectacle at least, as we're playing her on El Dorado, a map reminiscent a little bit of Golden Wall. A map perhaps even a little reminiscent of Amphion for the people with a shorter memory. It's a map that is divided in two parts. We have a wall of just minerals here in the middle. There's some rocks. We have a gold-based wall, as well as these minerals that can be mined. So there's really very many different types of bases that you can take. You can decide to take this, for example, as your third base, and then kind of move on over here as your fourth without the gas. You can also take this as your fourth base. The most standard approach we've seen, however, is just this is your third, this is your fourth. But as mentioned, lots of different approaches are going to be viable, are going to be playable here on this map. Curious to see what Showtime is going to go for, and curious to see what Beyond is going to go for here as well. For now, we have a fast scout coming out of Showtime, trying to block his opponent's CC from going down, and hasn't really done that great of a job. CC went down the moment the money became available. It's going to be a Marine into Reactor build order for Beyond. And that usually indicates, oh wow, look at that, a pull out of gas here. That definitely indicates something big. It indicates that we're going to be seeing a third command center coming out of the South Korean Terran here. Showtime, meanwhile, is a player that used to love these fat Oracle builds. And for the people that have not been keeping up with the most recent patch changes, right now the Cyclone has been changed back to what it was, I don't know, like 3 or 4 patches ago, where you have the quite quick Cyclone with a very long range, but a little bit more expensive, and you're going to require a tech lab as well. And back in that patch, Showtime used to love the Stargate builds, and used to love Oracle openers in general. Sadly, that's not what we're seeing here. We're just going to be going into the Twilight Council, Stalker into Adept, as there's no Reaper coming out of Beyond. Oh my god, look at this. The absolute greed and disrespect that he shows here. Third command center on position, outside of his base is extremely risky. If a unit moves over here, you're probably, I'm not saying you're getting a cancel, but it's hard to defend this because it's quite far away from the natural. You only have Marines to deal with it. It's not like you have a Cyclone or a Mine or a Hellion or some type of counter pressure. Every single unit can be sent across the map here for Showtime, and if you're not in position to deal with that, you actually could be in for a nasty surprise. But so far, Showtime's just planning on staying at home. See what the follow-up is going to be. Second barracks, quick eBay coming in here. Single gas. Well, the next question that I have is, does he want to take these gases? Or are we just going to stick to kind of a low gas style, maybe a relatively fast third base? Something I would be kind of down for, to be honest. Really, anytime more money is to be made, I am okay with it majority of the time. Look at that, fast robotics facility coming in as well. Yeah, he's moving over to the third. Okay, I do kind of like that. I really do kind of like that. First gateway now turning on. We have a second gas in the natural. Well, a first gas in the natural, but the second gas in total. I think it's built in the natural. Double Stalker warp pins. And I'm expecting to see this third base pretty soon. Okay, we have a sentry. I didn't see it being constructed. Energy recharged it. And as a result, got a pretty free scout on the other side of the map. Saw the 3 barracks and saw how late that third barracks was. So although he hasn't received the information, like, hey, I have a third CC and it's mining right now, I think that message got delivered to Showtime. Indirectly, but I think he definitely did get the message. So it's going to be moving over here, checking to see where that base actually is, because he hasn't seen it. He probably should figure out that it's going to be over here, because that is indeed where Beyond has splashed this thing down. Phoenix once again coming in for a scout. We have 5 Stalkers. That's going to be good enough to one-shot Marines. With 4 Stalkers, you're already okay. 4 Stalkers, one-shot Marines. They one-volley Marines. They also one-volley SCVs. If Marines have combat shield, with 5 Stalkers, you're going to be fine. But yeah, we're just going to have a lift here. 4 SCVs going down. Good start for Showtime, who now knows he can perhaps increase his probe count a little bit more. I think a robotics bay, is what we want to see as well. You either have to go for a robo bay, or a Templar Archives. I think the Robo Bay is the slightly safer option. It's also the option that's a little bit more convenient to play. It's a little easier to play at times. Spion's going to struggle here to move down to his own third. There's a significant Stalker force waiting outside. We have the Observer moving in. It's going to help mentally prepare Showtime for when the move out is coming. So I'm honestly not very worried for Showtime here whatsoever. He has a very neat worker count. He's gotten good information. He's going into 2 extra gateways. He's getting his force. He's getting his stack. I mean, I think he's absolutely fine here. Observer is doing God's work as well. So, the Overseer here is keeping an eye on this. We force out a stim. Not gonna get any kills off that stim though. Medevacs aren't out yet. That's a very expensive stim. Might even need to use a second one. Loses another Marine. Good control there. Out of Showtime. Doesn't lose anything. Kills 2 Marines. Forces a stim. I mean, that's a lot of energy that you need to use as the Terran here. Showtime's going to be very, very happy with that. 4 more gates coming in. No upgrade yet on the forge though. Observer gets sniped. Hallucination comes back in, sees the lack of medevacs in this army. And ding, 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 the alarm bells are ringing. Does Showtime hear them? Yes, he does. Sending everyone and their mom to the main base right now. Not to hide in the basement, but to face this threat head on. Hallucination is going to confirm that. In these types of cases, you know, I sometimes actually prefer pretending that you don't know that it's there. So you don't actually show the hallucination because you already know that it's coming. So instead, just leave the Stalkers there, which will allow you to kind of catch them by surprise. Now, Bjorn is hyper aware of what is going on. He's going to snipe this hallucination. That's a cancel, I think, here on the 4th base. I do believe I saw that starting already. First Colossus is out, but was not in the right position. Hallucination once again is going in. And I mean, you can't catch these medevacs. That is just the reality of things here. You cannot catch them. Second Forge now coming into play as well. So we have an armory already going down. Do we have a second eBay here too? No, it's just single eBay armory. Okay, here comes the second eBay. I'm waiting for these extra gases to be taken as well. This is a 4th... Wait, what? That was a misclick. Or a force field that I don't understand. But most definitely a misclick. 3rd Colossus now coming out. We're at 8 gateways. 1-1 upgrades. Yeah, this army is not done yet, you know? This army is not done. So we're gonna see a beautiful poke here. This is some sick movement. Let's zoom out for that. Would you look at that? We have an attack over here on the 3rd, pulling this army just ever so slightly out of position, getting a good trade against the Zealots. And then at the same time sniping this 4th base. A phenomenal movement out of Beyond, showing why, honestly, he's one of the best in the world. Currently rank 7, I believe, on Aligalak. Showtime currently... Last time I checked was rank 12, maybe rank 11 at this point. He's been having some good showings as of late in tournaments on the new patch as well. Maybe a Protoss player that should not be underestimated. I think he's actually the 3rd best Protoss currently in the standings. Max Packs, Hero, and then Showtime is up next on Aligalak. Could be wrong on that, but I don't think I am. Beyond, I think, also the 3rd best Terran. You have Clem above him. I want to say that Maru is above him too. And I'm not sure if Cure is. Either way, we have a triple drop now heading to the main. And Bjorn is so darn good at this. Gets the snipe on an Observer. And then, you know, there's so much ground you need to cover. As the Protoss player, he could come here, could come here. But he could also just be joining up with the main army. So we see hallucinated probes here being sent out just as spotters. Just making sure that certain paths aren't being used. Vikings are at home, are going to catch this as well. Beautiful play here. Beyond is ready for absolutely everything, in firm control of this game. Showtime really hasn't had a chance to move across the map in this entire game, to be honest. Look at this. Showtime isn't even aware if the 3rd base has landed. I mean, he knows, but he hasn't really confirmed it. Triple drop is going to hit the main base as well. Showtime is in position with a very solid pre-split, so this shouldn't be much of an issue. Or well, this should be less of an issue than if he hadn't pre-split. This still could be an issue. Marine count is fairly high though. This Colossus gets a couple of swipes on those bad boys. They will end up falling. Stalkers are going to keep chasing these medevacs, but won't get any more. Showtime, even in supply. Upgrades relatively even. Now the question is going to be, are Disruptors good enough for him? Will they do the job like they used to pre-patch? I'm not so sure if the answer to that question is going to be yes. Beyond has a very significant force here. Has no ghost in the mix though. What the hell? That is a very odd decision. One might even say a bad decision. Is he trolling? It's like, there's 3 supply now, I don't want to build them anymore. I mean, that is most definitely a mistake. Okay, he's now adding in the Ghost Academy. He just forgot about them, I guess. Huge blunder here. I think with Ghost in the mix, I'm not saying he would have gotten a kill push, but I think he definitely would have gotten a kill timing here. We have 4 medevacts heading into the main. Once again, Showtime is reading Beyond like a book. Look at this movement. Did he scout it? Must have seen it with the observer. This is very impressive otherwise. Just completely mirroring his opponent as Beyond's going to drop into the natural. Is this enough Zealots and Stalkers to deal with an unloaded Terran force? Not sure if the answer to that is going to be yes. 5th base being rebuilt once more. Beyond also wants that 5th. Zealots now flooding in. Will force a pull out of this 4 medevac force. At the same time, we have an attack over here on the 5th. Vikings are flying over the force fields and the Colossus count is not good enough. The Stalker count also not good enough to stop these Vikings really from flying over. Disruptors on the ground could help out. There we go. It's a pretty decent Disruptor shot. It's going to clear a bunch of bio. These 4 medevacs still flying around the bottom side. At this point, I'd almost say just clear these mineral patches because they're hurting you more than they're helping you, Showtime. He's just going to keep dropping over it, and you can never reach those medevacs. It seems absolutely impossible. Would make it much easier to get vision in this position as well, but Showtime says, nope, I don't need it yet. I'm just going to keep spreading and splitting perfectly every single time, preemptively. And so far, he's been doing a phenomenal job. Actually taking a bit of a lead in the bank as well, which is cool to see. Protoss at 1500 minerals, 800 gas. Terran at 0 minerals and about 800 gas. It's gonna come in with this 3 medevac flank. Can't really unload here. Yeah, we'll need to go behind it. Oh my god. This movement is surreal, no? Look at that. Look at the vision here that Showtime has. And look at the army that he's missed. Oh, at the same time though, Beyond not entirely here. Not ready for this push in. And there's not that many Disruptors even in the fight. They're all in the back. They're gonna get flanked here by this Marauder force. Plenty of Ghosts were in the mix, but somehow, some way, Showtime is just going to be pushing through. Finds 2 more Ghosts to take out. Does need to deal some serious damage. Prism could be a saving grace. Needs to get a fat warp in. How many gates do we have? Only 8. Not even 10 at this point. Gets 22 worker kills, which is a big deal. Zealots, meanwhile, hitting this planetary is a mistake. Get some big shots on him. And I do think this is going to get cleaned up eventually. Well, maybe with the Zealot flank, we have more of an opportunity. These Zealots, they seem to be on absolute crack over here. Dealing some serious damage. What a care in the world. 37 workers have gone down. Supplies in favor of Showtime. What is our orbital count right now? We're on 3. But we have 2 more on the way over here. Or potentially 2 more on the way. And a planetary going up here. So we can go up to 5 orbitals. So we could add 15 SCVs here to the count. It says 50. That should be 65. It's going to be some serious income. Showtime right now also needs to start working on a 6th base. Yeah, he probably should have started working on that a little while ago already. I think he's going to be oversaturated in some of these. Oh my god, look at that. 24 out of 8. Or out of 8? Is that what it said? Yeah, 24 out of 8. That's not a good look. Here we have some minor undersaturation actually. So the split of workers is just not good. But Showtime is lacking a lot of income that he should be getting with this high of a worker count. Prism is just patrolling the bottom side. I would not mind seeing an attack going into the main. Vikings are not in position. Showtime has 13 gates now, is adding 2 more. So theoretically should be ready for it. But theory ain't everything. Here come the Disruptors moving in forward. Can they get a Purification Nova on this army? No. So far, no. Beyond now rotating towards the bottom. Observer. It's gonna show this maneuver. Yeah, it's gonna get scanned this time though. Do we have Observer speed? No, we don't. Love to see Observer speed. For now though, the Prism speed is going to be good enough. Well, not good enough to... What the hell is this army? It's just everything at home. That's a huge force at home. I wonder if Showtime looked at it and was like, wait a second, that's like 40 supply. Why do you have 40 supply of bio at home? And what does that mean to the army at the front? There's 0 Vikings on the map currently. There's 122 army supply to 118. If Blink DT is now coming up. Shadow Stride ability. And here we go. Moving in forward once more. I think we can absolutely out-micro this. Couple of Stalkers on the high ground perhaps is a move that Showtime definitely could go for. Maybe even with the entire army. But definitely 1 or 2 Stalkers here could do so much. Beyond's gonna go for the base trade. It's gonna get 1 base instantly. It's a very interesting call. Showtime kind of takes the bait here. Let's see what Beyond's gonna be doing with this fish. Couple of EMPs coming down on the Zealots. Colossus is not in a great spot to deal with a lot of damage, but the Vikings are not in big enough numbers to take out these Colossus. Disruptors now coming in from the sides. None of them really hit except for that last shot. That is 6 ghosts all at once. A very big deal here. I think without that shot, I'm not saying Showtime is dead, but he's in a bit of a pickle here. He's going to need to retake this base once more. It's great when you have 75 workers, but 75 workers is useless if you don't have the bases to saturate. And here we actually see Beyond outmining his opponent because of the mules and because of the fact that he can kind of oversaturate with those mules. Look at that. You have 2 SCVs and a mule working. Usually you can only have 2 SCVs on a patch. So yeah, mules are just this fantastic tool. Really helping out. 5 ghost on the way. Viking count is at what? 1. 4 more on the way. Gonna need to go up to 7 or 8 though to deal with a Colossus count of 3. I think 5 isn't quite big enough yet. If some long distance mining, Showtime hasn't sent in a prism in quite a while, is something that he could aim to do. He warps in his first set of DTs. It's 4 of them. That's 2 more, so that brings us to 6. 1 more brings us to 7. Ooh, he wants to go in here. Needs to be careful. Force shields were not good. No Guardian shield used either. Disruptor shots hit absolutely nothing. Showtime now falling behind in supply. I think Showtime has kind of given this game away. Let it slip out of his hands. Is this planetary out of position, by the way? It looks very far away from the minerals, no? I'm going crazy. Maybe these minerals just look very far away from the base in general. There is a mine here, by the way. So a blinking could be dangerous. Oh, there we go. Floop. It's going to kill 2 DTs instantly. Is Beyond going to be fast enough with the repair? It is going to fall. 3 DTs end up going down. 3 DTs move back. And 3 more DTs end up going down. This is a pretty big deal though. Because now it's going to turn into an orbital. Ideally you have some liberators here to help against this type of move. 1 lib helps so much against DT run bys. We get a big scan forward. Viking count is good enough at this point, by the way. So this is going to be quite scary indeed. Colossus moving in forward. And not really getting the damage that they want. They're all just gonna die just walking through that Viking fire. And trading Vikings for Colossus is something that Terrans love to do. And especially if some of these Vikings even get to stay alive. DT is now coming in with a flank. This was an awful fight for Showtime, who's down in resources, lost by about 2k. Wouldn't surprise me if we see that number continuing to grow. Scan is going to reveal not just the DTs, but the DTs, by being there, actually reveal the observer. That's quite important vision that Showtime ends up losing. I think he's dead. He doesn't look dead, but actually he does look pretty dead. He only has 5 disruptors. He has an army that consists of 32 zealots. This base is so important, actually. This base and the gold. If this gold can mine for a little bit, and this one can get up, and maybe a couple of gases in there as well, I can see us having a chance. I mean, I can see Showtime having a chance. But, ooh! That disruptor shots there, that was huge. That was very neat. Zealots here are placed behind the minerals. Can't really do very much. Just starting competition with the SCVs. Now we're gonna piss off. Oh, this is not a fight that I'd like to fight. It's not a fight that I'd like to take at all. Disruptors keeping the gold. Beyond is going to rotate towards the bottom. This is a very active game when it comes to the movement. Look at this. Viking count is at 3. Colossus count once again at 2. Beyond could just move to the top side here as well, by the way. Look at this army, how it managed to maneuver in a spot where you don't really want this army to be. It's actually going to be moving in forward. Was afraid of the zealots. As a result, it's going to get lasered down by these Colossus a couple of times. Still have this army moving towards the top side. No counter harass coming out of Showtime. Advanced ballistics coming in, ship weapons level 2 coming in, 4 more command centers as well on the way, and this is a base that you can't afford to lose. I really don't think this is a base you can afford to lose. At the same time, he's going to clear this army, which is a pretty big deal. Maybe we have a counterattack possibility. It's going to morph both of these into orbitals. And this is such an awkward situation that we find ourselves in. Showtime desperately trying to chase this army. He needs to take a very good fight in the next few minutes. Because otherwise he's slowly but surely just going to be bleeding out. Here comes the flank from the top side. Medevac count is not big enough to pick all of this up. And with the Stalkers there, it's also pretty risky. Rocks get sniped. This was actually a good trade for Showtime. Viking count is very low. This base can now be denied. Prism is on the way. Liberator count will continue growing. But there's 0 Vikings on the map. And that makes Colossus quite a bit better. Stalker at a distance is going to try and clear a couple of workers, at least distract the opponent a little bit, right? You don't have to kill a lot of dudes. You can always try. Either way, what do we have here? More Liberator circles moving in forward. I think Showtime can actually take the bottom lane here. There's not enough lips covering that area. Yeah, there we go. Blinks in forward. Disruptor's very far in the back, not really contributing to the fight. Guardian Shield not being used either. Final Liberator here is going to clear quite a bit. SCVs are going down at the same time. Showtime actually doing an insanely good job at keeping the money, like just the cash flow, so freaking high this entire time. Just continuously expanding. Every time a base goes down, every time probes get taken out, he tries to replenish them as soon as he can. And that is really the only thing keeping him alive in this game. His fights have consistently been a little bit worse than his opponent. Liberator count is pretty freaking decent right now. Yeah, Beyond's gonna try to push out. This is really scary because there's not that many places you can maneuver to. You can kind of... You can go to the top side, I guess. This base is really vulnerable. Stalkers behind it could definitely do some damage as well, of course. This Liberator might end up getting caught. Prism does get spotted. Do we have any units in position to deal with that, though? Not yet. This bad boy tries to move in position. Showtime was ready. Instantly blinks in. Freaking fast this guy is, eh? Ridiculous. Really ridiculous. Doesn't have map control. Doesn't have control of the tower, at least. Prism is gonna fly in. Please keep it alive, Showtime. It's so freaking important for you. It is so important for you to keep this thing alive. He's gonna try to fly it out. Keeping this alive is just the only way he can really maneuver out on the map. The threat of the Prism is a huge deal. And he's moving towards the top side right now. There is a planetary that's going to get taken out really quickly. SCV is not close enough to instantly repair. And as a result, this is actually going to be good enough. Liberator also gets knocked down. Zealots now can clear a lot of these SCVs. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. I think what Beyond needs to do is go for a flank from the right side. Oh, good recall. Actually, no, it's not a good recall. It's going to lose a lot of Zealots here. Still 24 workers. Do we have a counterattack coming in somewhere else? Maybe at this base? No, we don't really. Gateway count is at 15. Once again, the cash flow for Showtime is just so solid, so consistent. Has this new gold base now as well that he can start saturating. Prism, once again, moving into the main base. Beyond actually struggling to stay in this game. Showtime is playing a phenomenal game. He really is playing a phenomenal game, to be honest. It really is one hell of a show that he's putting on here. 10 Ghost with 3 supply, so that is 10 less supply than it would have been pre-patch, of course. Liberators trying to get in position. Zealots a little bit lost here. Gonna walk into a forest of Liberators. Big blink forward, snipes 1 Lips. It's gonna snipe a second Lip. Good Purification Nova takes out a Ghost, a couple of Marines as well. Colossus still staying alive as the Viking count is non-existent. One more Purification Nova. Can we do anything here? Orbital Command's gonna get taken out as well. Stalkers. A little bit of a yucky spot. 2 more Colossus now coming in. This is so interesting that Showtime realizes that there is no Vikings. Like, hey, I'm actually just gonna go to 5 Colossi. This is not a viable play in a standard game, but in this game, it might just be perfect. As these Colossus, with their range advantage, are doing so much against this army. Or at least, they're doing more than a Stalker Zealot here would have done. Or Stalker Zealot Disruptor. It would have just been jumped upon. Colossus kiting is good here out of Showtime, and I'm not sure if he's just gonna straight up win this fight, but yeah, he's actually just gonna straight up win this fight. GG gets called. Showtime with honestly an impressive win. These ghosts costing the 3 supply against someone like Beyond, who loves going up to ghost counts of like 12. is actually a pretty big deal. I thought some of these fights, just looking at the supplies, I was like, oh, this should be really bad for Showtime. And then in the end, it's honestly kind of okay. Like these maxed out armies are not as scary for TOS as they were before. I do believe that Beyond made a mistake with not having enough Vikings, and his Ghosts were in general kind of late in the game. We had like a maxed out fight in the middle before Ghost really arrived, but still, impressive victory here for Showtime, showing how it's done here on the PTR patch. All right, it's going to be it for me today. Hope you all enjoyed this game. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. See all of you next time for a new video. Ciao, ciao.